Are you one of those people that dread the holiday get-togethers? Well, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Gina, and welcome to Hope and Cope. Here we explore biblical concepts and essential skills to help you live your best life even in the face of pain and tragedy. Today, we're going to continue our conversation from last week, which is preparing for the holidays. If you find this channel helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe and share this with someone that could also benefit from it so that we can keep reaching new people that need it. Before I get started with this week's suggestions, I just want to review with you. Last week we talked about setting healthy boundaries for holiday get-togethers. We talked about communicating your boundaries clearly to your loved ones. And then we talked about knowing your own triggers. So I hope that if you didn't get to see that video, that you'll go back and check it out. I will link it in the description box. Stay with me to the end and I will share a tip that you really need to know for the holidays. So I want to start off my suggestions today by saying have a support plan. So have a plan for what to do if your family member or your loved one gets disruptive or their behavior gets out of control. So that might mean having someone available to help them actually leave your house if the event is at your house, or just knowing how at your house you're going to respond kindly and peacefully, that you may not need to ask them to leave. All that is so nuanced. Only you know your family and your situations, but just know what your plan will be. If you're going to a family home and you know that there could be a situation there, giving your children the heads up and saying, if mom says it's time to go, I want you to just trust me and grab your coat and let's get in the car and just go. Don't make this harder. It will be for a good reason, and I can explain it once we leave. I don't know what kind of family situations you have had, but contemplating long and hard actually being willing to call the police. I know that's very, very, very uncomfortable, and most people have a hard time picking up that phone and making that phone call. But ask yourself what situation would need to occur for you to be willing to call the police and have an intervention from the police. I think it's important to have thought that through before those situations occur. So you've had your support plan, you know what you're going to do, you've talked to your children about it if that's applicable, you've decided if you are willing and under what circumstances you're willing to call the police, you've gotten out of there, it's the day after, and now I just want to encourage you to have somebody to talk to. That's why I almost always, in these types of videos, mention the years that I was in Al-Anon, the number of people that I had their number and I could call and talk to them about situations that I needed to get off my chest, and I had a sponsor that was just very invaluable to me and gave me so much help and support. But that could be someone inside Al-Anon, it could be someone else, a family member, a clergy member, someone else, but have somebody that is close and that you can share with, that's dependable and faithful and discreet, and somebody that you don't have to keep things bottled up if you feel like you need to talk. So another thing with Al-Anon is they have daily readers. I really love my daily readers. To be perfectly forthcoming, I haven't been dependent on them for the past years of my husband's paralysis because he's not in addiction anymore. But we're not living with active alcoholism anymore. It doesn't mean he doesn't still have the mindset, but I would love to read them more, but I definitely clung to them on a daily basis during those years of my husband's addiction. So if you don't have any good daily readers for people with family members that are in addiction, you can find a link to Al-Anon in the description box always, and through that link you should be able to find a way to order material. And the two that I have read that I can recommend and highly recommend are the original ODAT, which is One Day at a Time, and then Courage to Change. Those I have read cover to cover multiple times, have them earmarked, bookmarked, highlighted, notes, and they have been very helpful to me. So that's one huge support that you can have. What I loved about my daily readers is whether it was 3 o'clock in the morning, whether it was at midnight and I couldn't sleep, whether it was that terrible phone call that has, come at a bad time and you need some support, you need something to kind of help you rein things in, those daily readers could be there for you any time of day. My next suggestion is to practice self-care. Know your own limitations and your own triggers. We did talk about triggers last week, but I didn't really talk about doing your self-care. So when you care for someone with addiction, it can be very emotionally exhausting, and especially during the holidays. So make sure to practice your self-care by getting enough rest, taking breaks, finding moments to recharge. Surround yourself with supportive people or church community who can pray with you. And be willing to detach, to just let go sometimes, to divert, to get your attention onto other things. I don't know every circumstance that you have, but for the most part, you can detach when you need to. And that means you don't have to take those phone calls. You don't have to take those texts. You can give yourself some time. You can rest in peace. You can turn your phone off. You can do these things so that you can take care of you. So I want to encourage you to eat well. Everybody's different. Eating well might mean different things to different people, but just try to be healthy-minded when you eat. Try not to get too much of that processed sugar and that highly processed foods. Try to make sure that you're eating more healthy. Try to get some exercise. I know that in the winter it is a little extra challenge, but exercise always helps mentally, always helps to keep us somewhat more elevated. Think about things that you can just let go during the holidays. I don't know what that is for you, but if there's things you like to do, but they're not essentials, you can just let them go and pick them up in January. So, maybe that's making your bed. I've talked about that before. I know people are very religious about making their bed, and I am too. I have a very easy bed to make, but just little things. If you have certain little things that you like to do, but they can wait another month, you can let them go. Maybe make some chilies or some soups and put them in the freezer so that in December, you don't have to cook so much. Maybe buy some more paper goods so you're not having so many dishes. So just be nice to yourself. Get that self-care. Try to get those relaxing baths. Go to bed on time. Aromatherapy is very nice. Just do some things that are good for you as often as you can during the holidays. I know that a lot of times with a family member with addiction, it just comes with its own set of financial stressors. There's so many reasons for that. I'm not even going to try to go into that in this video because that's not what this video is about. But I just wanted to say, plan a budget for Christmas. Plan a budget that you can afford. And if that means instead of buying gifts that you just make some cookies and take cookies to parties, or something I have done in the past, and that's get some really sweet prints just off your phone, make some copies of some beautiful prints and give them to your family members, homemade ornaments, and maybe just a handwritten note. I know people aren't very big on sending Christmas cards anymore, and that's okay. But if you're going to go to those family events and there may be some gifts exchanged, to take some handwritten notes for your loved ones, for your mom, your dad, your siblings, whoever else is really close to you. And just take a few minutes to write that handwritten note. So many times that means more to anybody than any store-bought gift that you could possibly give. So the tip you really need to know for the holidays is just advice. You do what you want to with it. Everybody's in a different position. Everybody's ready for different steps at different times, but I'm just going to make a suggestion not to give monetary gifts to people with addictions. My experience is that they will take those gifts and they will sell them for drugs. Even gifts that you buy for their children. I've heard too many stories of grandparents, aunts and uncles buying gifts for the children of their family members with addiction because maybe the parents of those children aren't going to buy them anything and they want those children to have something to open on Christmas morning. But those parents with addiction will still take those gifts and sell them for money to buy drugs. And that is a very sad experience, but I know people that have actually lived with that experience. So my suggestion is to give more experience gifts. So if you want to give your grandchildren things, your niece and nephew things, buy them memberships. So buy them memberships to the trampoline park, memberships to the zoo, maybe an art class that you're going to actually pick them up and take them and to that art class and do that art project with them, pottery, different things like that, dance classes. These are just suggestions, but try to think of things that are more experiential that the people with addiction can't take and sell for money to buy drugs. As I encouraged you in the last video, lean on your faith. Don't lose sight of the reason for the season. Think about the birth of Jesus. Think about why we're thankful, why we're grateful, why we take the time to celebrate these things. The holidays are a very special time for prayer and for seeking peace, for going to church, for keeping our minds on Christ. So when challenges arise, turn to prayer for wisdom and strength and patience and endurance and favor. All of that will help you. And also the Serenity Blueprint that I created, years ago during my husband's addiction, and it has an acronym. It's called CALM. It stands for Control Your Thoughts, Accept Reality, Look to God, and Maximize Forgiveness. And those 4 things, I could use those steps, either pick one out, I needed it, and right now I just need to look to God, or right now I just need to maximize that forgiveness. Right now I just need to control my thoughts, whatever it is. Or I could just go through that process and learn to let things go and learn to manage the way they affected me. So I will put a link to my Serenity Blueprint playlist in the description box. I know holidays are hard with family members in addiction. We just need to try to prepare as much in advance as we can. Families can navigate the holidays with more peace and more hope, even under difficult circumstances. Do your best, and no matter how it turns out, if you've done your best, you've prayed, you've given things to God, and you've handled things as best as you can, then try very hard not to take on guilt or shame. Know that you've done the best you can. Guilt and shame, they just don't help anything. They don't help anyone. They don't help you to be rational when you're dealing with your loved ones with addiction. So just let those things go. Don't let those things attach to you, no matter how the holidays go. Just cover the situations with grace. Cover yourself with grace. You want grace for that loved one. You want grace for yourself. You're just human, and you're just doing the best you can. Let me know what you think of this topic, and if you have any suggestions for us of how you have stayed sane during holidays or events with your loved ones, we'd sure love to hear about it in the comment section. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and that this content is helpful. So please hit the like and the subscribe button and share this with a friend. Find more encouragement in the description box. Please take a minute to leave a comment or let me know if there's a topic that you'd like to see me cover. Look for new content on Sundays, and remember, I love you. I'm praying for you. God bless.